Awesome. Let's get this thing going. The show on the road. I believe like kind of like what Tom Zeeb did and Anthony Chara and a lot of these national guys, they all say the same thing. We shouldn't penalize the people that are on time. I know you can't say you're in traffic. The biggest excuse you could give me is what? I had to reboot my computer, my internet's down, you name it, right? So I got all your excuses down now. So watch out. Today's class or webinar is really about how to analyze investment properties. As I do that, there we go. And so, one of the things as, our motto at BPM RIA is real estate investing made simple, right? We want to make sure we teach you and don't make it harder than it is. I'm not saying it's easy, but a lot of times you're always looking for the new shiny object. You're looking for, I don't know, I hate to say it, the younger people. I'm always so ageist. I always pick on younger people saying, hey, they want things so quick. It didn't work right away. But if you keep doing this, what you're going to realize, real estate investing is made simple unless you make it hard, right? So a little information about me. I did see some new names on here too. So I am the president of BPM RIA, lead mentor. My background, I'm a licensed real estate agent since 2002. I'm still a licensed mortgage guy. I have a degree in finance. I'm Indian. I grew up in Jersey. I'm still a Yankee fan, Giant fan, and I still root for the Dolphins. I love living in South Florida. I went from Rutgers Engineering School to transferred out to USF. My parents were hoping as a good Indian son, I'd be a doctor. They realized I passed out when they took blood when I was about 10. They said, there's no hope on that. So what else am I going to do? I'm going to get an engineering degree. And after 2 years at Rutgers, I realized I did not want to be in engineering. And I hated the cold weather too. So, basically I wound up transferring down to University of South Florida in Tampa at USF. And then I really loved the limelight of living in Miami Beach. So I moved to South Florida. I guess I'm on almost about 20 years. So love being down here. I still love to travel, go back and forth a lot of places. So some of the people on our team, so a lot of you guys already know Alexa. She's our operations manager. She makes sure everything's fixed. She also makes sure that your memberships, everything you sign up is taken care of. She really runs the RIA, is probably the easiest way I could say it. We got Harry Diamond, who's here and you're on the webinar today, and his better half, Victoria, who's actually probably resting and making Harry work. Shopping, she's shopping, there you go. And Harry and Victoria are actually all of the mentors were former students. Now they're lead mentors. Sometimes you've seen Taryn Ward. She's been on a couple webinars with me or in person, or Denise and Lucian are our third set of mentors too. So Harry, you want to give your little background about?
I was born I was also a graduate engineer and ran an engineering firm for 15 years in New York City. And we designed and built vacuum pump and air compressor systems, medical life support systems for industries, hospitals, pharmaceutical labs. Our equipment controlled the equipment that cut the wings of the space shuttle, et cetera, et cetera. And we controlled the East Coast of the United States. I gave that up and moved to Vermont for 15 years and operated a farm market, country bake shop. It got so popular that we got a lot of local and nationwide attention. Rachel Ray brought the Food Network. It was Good Morning America. I did my little Julia Child cooking thing on a local news station 4 years, and eventually moved to Florida here. And I knew that real estate was a great way to have an additional stream of income. And I went to I spent a lot of money on a national program. And they said, it turns out that all the national programs say, go to your local RIAs, your real estate investment associations. So I went to BRIA, which is now BPM RIA, and went to all the others. And BRIA was the only one that was inviting and welcoming and wanting to help me be successful. Matter of fact, they were pushing us away before we even really got in. They're like, oh, when you go do your own deals, we'll still support you, kind of thing. So the company that nationwide company that we had signed up with went out of business. So we signed up with Bria. They were local. And in that about 8 months or so with that nationwide program, we spent a lot of money and didn't even do one deal. As soon as we got to Bria, we got the support, the knowledge, because South Florida is a very unique real estate market. We can do this in other states as well. And certainly we have team members that do that. Taryn is great for remote rehabs and et cetera, or with, forgot what they call them exactly, virtual rehab, sorry. And then Victoria and I quickly listened to Anish about doing short sales, and we became their #1 students very rapidly. And then because we were taken under the wing of these guys and the original owners of Bria, Bill and Jan, that we decided to pay it forward, and we became mentors to help other students achieve their successes as well. We just, if you were at Wednesday night's meeting, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I was probably in Santorini, Greece at the time. Sorry, guys. But I was thinking about you for a very short time.
Yeah, sure.
But you probably saw, if you were there, you probably saw the Anish hand a $70,000 check to one of the students, which doubled his salary in one deal. So this is possible. You're going to see some things. I think we're talking about that a little bit later in this call. All right, so that's it. I'll back to you.
Yeah, so Harry's right. So not only did he do a national program, I also spent over $50,000 on a national coaching program. Also, same thing. They said, go to your local RIA. That's how I found Bria. I took my last bit of money. My family thought I was insane. I did their old program and I was one of the top students. And fast forward, was able to help buy the RIA from the old owners. And, BPM RIA, we did a name change this year. The main reason was I was getting tired of everyone was thinking I'm only buying in Broward County. So just in case you guys don't know, BPM stands for Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade. The irony is that we're actually buying stuff in Naples, Cape Coral, Jacksonville. So I don't know what's going to happen down the road. Like I might have to change it again. No, I mean, I just got everything done. So I'm probably not going to happen anytime soon. But that was the idea. As Harry's talking about, BPM RIA, we are a chapter of National RIA. National RIA is the organization that endorses real estate clubs. That's how you're getting those. If you're a member, you're getting those discounts at Home Depot, Rent Perfect, Arcana Insurance, Equity Trust. Hopefully you're taking advantage of it. We do have events that also have member pricing and non-member pricing. So
also, Anish, if I can interrupt, National RIA is very, very strict on who they let to be members. We have to go meet a set of criteria. So they recognize us as being the leaders here in South Florida.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and what he means to say also is that they do background checks, criminal checks on us, especially me, and they do every year have compliance too, and some of the community service things that we do. That's all part of being part of National RIA. So we are the approved chapters in Dade and Broward County too. So, right. So we kind of joke about it, right? Like what's real estate done for, us? So I kind of joke about, are you living your best life out there? After I lost everything and got wiped out, my wife and I, that's, my wife, some of you guys may or met her at one of the events or a couple of events. We love traveling. So, we got to go to the Maldives, Puerto Rico, Tulum, Dubai. We're even trying to figure out where to go next. But it's real estate that's actually got us to go out there. The other thing is it's also helped that I've been able to help my parents. I was able to buy my house. And really it's transformed, but it wasn't quick. So I know a lot of you guys, like how fast can you get this thing going? You can, but I was looking in the long term. So that's, as we start traveling around the world, there's a lot of other hotspots that we're dying to go. Greece is one of them too. So Harry, I'm going to wait and get, a debriefing from you on your trip to Greece.
And you're putting up a slide. I would have developed one too.
So the other thing is, and obviously Harry loves going, traveling with Victoria. One of the things that we got to do also is, I don't know if you guys, I was joking about being a football fan. I'm not, I'm a pretty big football fan. I'm a Dolphins fan specifically also. And I got to work with the Miami Dolphins on their business combine. So the cool thing is they're actually teaching these young men to do something with their money besides blowing it. And surprisingly, guess what? They are interested in flipping houses and short-term rentals, just like you guys. And I got to spend a day with these guys, as you could imagine, what kind of research they did on me to make sure I wasn't some knucklehead getting in front of their $4 billion investment, just saying what to do. And on a side note, I always hear all these things about the athletes being, all the problems that they go through. Let me tell you, these young men were like the nicest young men, and they're asking all the right questions too. So for me, it was pretty awesome to actually, work with them. I am going to be working with the NFL on a rollout program too, as the real estate expert that, they're going to have me do an event with them actually next month. So pretty excited about that. We talked about our students, right? So some of you guys are students. We did our favorite barbecue that we haven't done in a couple of years. And it was the lead mentors that actually came up with it. If you look on the bottom left, my favorite picture of Harry, we're still not sure what the aluminum foil does on the cooking end of it, but I don't know what it does, Harry.
Tunes in outer space, UFOs. No, it was extremely hot, and I thought that would work, but it didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, we're really, as a students, as a RIA, we're all about community and helping out other investors too, and also having fun. So let's talk about what we're really looking for, right? We're looking for motivated sellers, right? I know when you want to analyze properties, but the truth is, if they're not motivated, what are we going to do? Just go ahead and put in the chat. What do you think some of the motivations for people are to sell a house? What do you guys think, right? So remember, it's going to be interactive. The more you give us, the more we'll give you. So why would they? Yeah, Melvin's talking about, divorce, death, loss of spouse, relocating. Yeah, sure. Look, all right. Inheritance, loss of job change. Too much work for the rental properties. Okay. COVID-19. All right. Pre-foreclosure, bankruptcy. All right. Oh, we got a good group today. They're out there. Yeah. So we're looking for motivation, right? So here's the funny part, right? They could be in pre-foreclosure. They might not be motivated at all. They could be in bankruptcy and they're not motivated. It happens all the time on that portion, right? Should they be motivated, Harry? If you're
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things I said there in the chat was they just don't know what to do. And when they get enough information, they can make a decision. They realize that there are other options. And a lot of those options are working with us to help them put this bad issue behind them, which could be for years, 5, 10 years, some of these people. And they start fresh and new, and it makes a difference in their lives. And it's such a great feeling to help someone like that.
Yeah. I mean, what are common responses? I mean, obviously Harry's done millions of dollars of profits and deals. Give me an example of someone that's not motivated. What have they told you? If you could get them on the phone. Let me rephrase that, or if they answer you.
I have an attorney. There's a common cry.
Yeah.
And I do my research. So I said, oh yeah, I know you have Kevin. How's he doing for you? That sort of stuff. So we see, or I say, I didn't see one that was listed in public record, in the court record.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you working with? Sometimes they're just, you got to remember that a lot of times that multiple people have knocked on their doors or called them, annoyed them, and you were next on list and you get the brunt of it. But we stand out from the crowd, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah. So that's exactly it, right? They're either, I'm working with an attorney, that's when it happens. Or I always get the other one that, hey, my spouse or my siblings are handling that, right? Or they're just overwhelmed. Or sometimes they just don't know that there's an option. So we do, remember, if we want to make a deal, we need the other person to be on board on the other side. So just because they're in a situation, and so the other thing is, right, let's talk about it. We were talking about some of the motivation. Would it make a difference if they had a couple things going on with them? Right? Meaning, let's say someone passed away and they're in pre-foreclosure. Right? Or, they own a rental property and the tenant's not paying and they're behind taxes and they're out of state. So the more things that you add, right? One of the things is that, they call it list stacking. The more issues you have, the more motivated you should be. I'm not going to say you're always motivated. You should be more motivated. And that makes a big difference. And are you going to find as many people like that? Maybe not, right? They might have 8 things. They haven't paid taxes in 4 years. They're in pre-foreclosure. They're out of state and someone passed away. When you pull up those lists, there's not going to be that many of those people. But if you do get a hold of them, they should be a good lead for you.
I'm working on one like right now, exactly that situation. I called the attorney because I couldn't find the heirs.
Yep.
Do the skip trace. Turns out the heirs are mega millionaires. They don't care about this. And the attorney hung up on me.
Wow.
But I texted him and now we are, probate's been done. We're moving forward. I'm meeting the appraiser tomorrow at the property.
There you go, right? So that's really, really important. So what do you need to make an offer on a house? Guys, go ahead and put it in the chat. Right? Like to still comps, yep. Cash. Okay, let's see. Repair costs. What about a title company, right? Why do you need a title company? Just out of curiosity. Contract is correct too. Right? Earnest money deposit.
It's funny. I said, what's puff? POF.
Right? Sales contract, proof of funds, articles of incorporation, right? So those are the basics you need up front. Yeah, we do need to get comps, down the road, but these are the things that if you don't have these 4 things, now what, right? So POF, just in case you guys know, proof of funds, right? Sometimes they'll ask you, especially if you're working, I know that some of you guys are realtors, they might want articles of incorporation. You're still going to need comps for yourself, right? This is the actual proof when you're sending in that offer. The more of these things you have, the stronger it is. If I send Harry an offer on his house and I don't have proof of funds versus someone else that sends an offer, which one would you might take? Especially if I'm telling them I'm a cash buyer. What's more important to you, Harry?
Cash.
Yeah, but you want to see proof of funds. How do you know?
Bank account.
Yeah, so it could be bank account. It could be, line of credit. Those are all important things that you want. If you don't have that part of your toolkit, I'm not saying you can't do deals. I'm just saying you're just behind. That's all. Because what do you do if they do ask you for one? Now what? Hey, Harry, you said you're going to pay cash. Do you mind can I see your proof of funds? Remember, the great thing about South Florida is that everyone's got a realtor friend, title company friend, lawyer friend. So if Harry showed me, we've been friends for a long time and he's not in real estate, I'm going to say, hey, did you get their proof of funds? What about title companies, right? So obviously we have multiple title companies within our organization. The great thing with all the title companies that are part of our organization, they work very well with realtors and investors. They know how to, double closings, assignments of contracts. They are excellent at that feature. Not all title companies and attorneys are good at that. I always say that, I don't know, probably like they're a little vanilla, right, Harry? I would say vanilla meaning, hey, I'm going to do a loan. It's this. What do you mean? There's 2 closings, or it's illegal, which is funny when I hear that too. So if it's cash or hard money, it is not illegal to do a double closing. If you are using FHA, conventional loans, VA loans, trying to do, those kind of loans on the same day, that will be mortgage fraud. So they are correct. EMD, earnest money deposit. Why do we have to put a deposit? Go ahead and put in the chat, and go ahead and put how much you would put as a deposit.
Also, while you're doing that, I noticed everyone there is correct in what they're saying, and there may be a bunch of people on this call that don't know this stuff. But the biggest advantage for Victoria and I was to be associated with a network of like-minded individuals, that we were able to get this information. We were able to know how to talk to homeowners, how to think outside the box, and truly help the homeowner get what they need, or the heirs get what they need. And sometimes it's not price related. So you don't have to overpay for a lot of these things. Like I had one house where they said he wants 700,000. Well, the houses aren't selling for 600, and it was a hoarder's house. Some of you may see those pictures. But I heard him saying his dad wants to have net $200,000. I was like, whoa, that's a big difference. And he acknowledged the repairs were about 125,000. So homeowners will tell you certain things. So being associated with a network, you're trained to hear what they're looking for and then come up with a solution that works for everybody.
Absolutely. And so you guys are correct. It's skin in the game. It shows that you're serious. So in Florida, you do need consideration. And consideration we're talking about is money, something of value. Can you do $10? Yes, you can. I'm just going to say that it's not very, how serious do you guys feel? Hey, I'm buying your house for $200,000 or $300,000. I'm putting $10 or $100. It is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just in our market, it's a little bit different. So I would say minimum 500. If you guys are new, I know 500 still $500, or 1,000 is what I put on that portion. But I always have proof of funds too. So for me, I'm like, well, why would I, put all this money down? You see, I have the money. I'm an investor. I'm buying a lot of houses out there. I just have a lot of money tied up. The other thing is, if they're really pushing on it, you could always put a second deposit down after the inspection period, right? And that's up to you. So if it's going to be stronger. I could tell you, I don't know, 95% of the time, I don't have to put a second deposit down. Call it experience. Again, I know how to talk to people on that end of it. So for me, it's not that big. Like at the end of the day, you want to make the seller feel comfortable. That's what it comes down to. Sales contracts. Let's talk about those too, right? The people that are actually doing these, or doing deals out there, where are you guys, what kind of contracts are you guys using? If you're actually out there doing contracts already. So go ahead and put in the chat. I know some of you guys were at Tom Zeeb's event this weekend, and if you got his program, he actually hired an attorney and has a 4-page contract. So yes, you could use, something that has been attorney verified, if you want to say, but generally speaking, we use FAR/BAR as is contracts, right? And the reason we use them, it's approved by the Florida Association of Realtors and the Florida FAR/BAR. So it is 12 pages. What you want to make sure you do is, if you have a contract and you're going to someone, make sure you look at it first. There is nothing that shows more than inexperience and, oh, wait, let me see what that means. Let me turn that. Like it's the first time you looked at a contract. These contracts, right? The reason we use the Florida FAR/BAR as is contract in general is in case there's problems, right? So now the seller's not signing. There's confusion on this end of it. The FAR/BAR as is generally addresses most of the things out there. Also, any kind of addendums, you're out there too. Realtors, you get this automatically with your license. That's standard. If you're not a realtor, right? We do have a company called altastar.com. You can license out the contracts yearly and the addendums. It is roughly, I want to say it's about $150 for the year, maybe $140 with our discount at BPM out there. So, and guys, some little house rules too, just so you guys know, because the chats always move so fast. If you could also put your questions in the Q&A, it just makes it easier for us. also, and then we'll definitely get to them as we get out there. But Yalini's, one of the things you're saying is 10% of sales, a good EMD amount. Sure, the more money you put down, absolutely, right? The problem that I see with newbie investors is that, hey, I want to put $50,000 down. It's a strong contract, but they don't have the 50,000. That doesn't work. You do, I know it sounds kind of funny, but I get that question. Do you really have to put the money down somewhere? I'm like, yes, you do. And of course, you want to give it to, right, the title company, not the seller, right? You're not going to write Harry Diamond a check, the seller, for, 5,000, 1,000, any of that. Make sure you put it down with the title company when it comes to it. Articles of incorporation, that's if you guys are setting up an LLC or some sort of structure. It's depends on what state. I know a lot of you guys are doing stuff out in Wyoming, so, or Delaware. If you have all these things submitted to your offer, it just makes it stronger, right? So like that's one of the things out there. So how do we identify rental properties? What's important, right? So in general, go ahead and put in the chat if you're a landlord or not. What's important to you? Right? I mean, what's important? I know Harry's not a landlord. I am on certain things. So location could be important. Definitely. What else is important? What's the most important to me? Condition of property. Okay, that could be important. Close to school, jobs, transportation, ROI, right? Cash flow. Yeah. So for me, it's cash flow, right? What am I getting on that too? So we want to also make sure that we know some of the neighborhoods, right? We live in South Florida. You could tell that really nice neighborhood in Boca, it's probably not as many rentals, right? Or, Weston or Parkland, it's a lot of owner occupied on that portion versus, like rentals in Wilton Manor, Hollywood. You just want to have a good idea of where you're at out there. So what tools can you use to get rental numbers, right? We're talking about cash flow. Nish, I don't know how to, how do I know what's normal for rent? And I'm just touching on the top 4 that I use. There's obviously way more. Well, and I see someone saying comparables. Well, how are you getting those comparables? Right? Just kind of curious. Real estate professional, right? Everyone, some of you guys are, right, real estate agents. And I know for a heck that you guys know at least one agent. Hey, can you do these comps for me? Right? What I can tell you, and I know there's some realtors on board, when the investor keeps asking for things and then they don't use you for anything, that gets pretty old, right? Rentometer. Rentometer is a good way to find comps also. REIFax, Carlton, you're exactly right. And so the 4th one I use, which like no one, I don't know, for whatever reason, so many people don't use. And of course, like when I'm using a real estate professional, that means IMAP, correct? They're doing pencil searches. But one of the things I did, the local Section 8 housing department. Why would you think? Okay, so actually, let's talk about what Section 8 is first. I'm assuming everyone knows what Section 8 is, housing. So Harry, do you know what, have you worked with Section 8 clients before? Not really, some of your buyers?
Not really.
Some of them. So one of the things is for me, years when I started making a turn, I found a great neighborhood in Miramar, Tuscany Village. The buildings were like, I don't know, the town was maybe 3 or 4 years old. The great thing was that association had no problems with Section 8 tenants. So Section 8 is probably the easiest way I could say it. It supplements housing payments, so they have to get approved. I mean, I think the waiting list is a couple of years now. It's like pretty crazy. Like it's not easy to get there. What I've seen, all the Section 8 tenants I've had, it's generally been single moms with kids, have a job, and the good thing as a landlord, right? And again, they're going to help out with the rent on this. The money gets direct deposited, whatever Section 8 gives you, it gets direct deposited right into your account on the first of the month, like clockwork. So I've had a, you know, townhouse, what was it, a 2-2? I think it was like, I was getting 1,600, and I think Section 8 was paying me 1,591. The tenant was paying $9 a month, and it comes in. Some of the things is also with Section 8, you do have to go through their inspection. But yeah, you want to, you know, the way I look at it as a landlord is, yeah, not only is it my property, I know families are going to move in there. Yeah, I want to make money, absolutely. But my number one commitment is that I know a family is going to live in there. I want to make it safe. And that's one of the things that is really different than, yeah, most investors when you're just looking at cash flow and this, like, you want to make it a win-win. Like some of the things I missed on Section 8, like I was this is a while ago, but like the fire alarms, the smoke alarms, I had to replace batteries. I'm like, oh yeah, it works, you know, but I didn't check it. So there's some basic things on there, and there's a ton of investors that love Section 8. So as a wholesaler, what I did was I just back-ended the numbers. The other thing is it's easy to find out, like, you're not sure about an area, right? You got a house, townhouse, try to find out, and they have bulletins where you could actually post your property too as a Section 8 landlord. But now you could figure out what your market rate is too. So I think that's always really important, right? So for you guys that are landlords, what do you consider a good return on investment if you pay cash? I'm just kind of curious what, you know, 10%, okay, 8, 6, okay.
Leanness, we have to talk. I got properties for you.
10 to 12. Okay. So you know what? So what could be good for me might not be good for Harry or Latanya, or everyone's going to have a different end of it. Let's talk about this. And I know someone, I think Patrice actually mentioned it earlier, location. If it's in a better location, right, like a nicer neighborhood, the chances on your returns are probably your cap rate, and we'll talk about cap rate, it's going to be less. If you're in a, I don't know, war zone on that portion, it's going to be different, right? So I see someone saying 25, 30%. So what I'm going to tell you, in our market in South Florida, it's not going to happen. 25, 30%, I mean, it will be very rare. Unless, right, unless you're doing short-term rentals, different conversation. I'm just talking about normal 1-year lease tenant that way. Short-term game, total different. Yeah, we've done actually webinars. I've done them with Antonio. Total different game.
Or sober homes.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. Or you know, what's it called? Oh my God, what Gene Guarino teaches.
The assisted living facility.
Thank you. Independent living and assisted living facilities. That's, yeah. So it depends on what those things are. But I'm just talking about your normal, you know, homeowner, renter in there, right? So it just depends. Whoop, sorry. So one of the things that we use to figure out return is cap rate, right? Capitalization rate. So what do you guys think a cap rate is? How do you figure that out? And again, cap rate, some of you guys might be very experienced. This is the basic of the basic, right? I might actually do, now that I think about it, a more advanced one, like cash on cash, IRR, like that's, as you start building, you're going to look at some other numbers. But the cap rate is the basics that you want to know, right? It's the total income minus expenses, which is really your net operating income, times market value, or divided by market value, or purchase price, right? So that's a handful. Everyone's like, what the heck is this? So let's kind of go through an example, right? House is worth $270,000, right? You did it, said, okay, this is what it's worth. Rent is $2,000 a month. right? So that's what your income guys, right? Okay, so now we got that. And I'm not adding, right? I'm just gonna assume like, I have a 5-unit building, so I get money on laundry, all that other stuff. So if you do have any other income coming in, you could add that in there. But we're just assuming it's a single family home, 2,000, right? So now we're about expenses. Insurance. Depending on where you're at right now, 2,400 might sound very low compared to what I've been seeing. If you guys have been seeing what's been happening with our insurance here in Florida, there's a lot of companies that are exiting our market. And I'm just seeing like prices on insurance just going up. What about you, Harry? Have you seen?
Skyrocketing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just out there. It's a little bit, so you want to take that out. Taxes. How's your property taxes doing, right? I know our value's been skyrocketing. So we're going to want to take that out. What other, right? And again, see, the key is the word yearly, right? So you can't use your monthly. So if you took the 2,000 month monthly, yearly, you're looking at what? $24,000 in income. What other expenses are you going to see? Yeah, I see someone talk about, so utilities, yes or no, right? Depends. If it's a single family, you're usually trying to push the water and sewer and the electric on there, right? Repairs, maintenance, yeah, okay. Right, maintenance. On average, you're going to only use 5%. Maintenance is like what the industry average is what you want to use. It can be more or less, depending on what you want to do. Right? Property management. How many people want to be owner operators and property manage? Not me. I don't do it. I build it into my costs. Right? So, and it's usually the industry average is 10% on one property. If you have a portfolio, if it's a building, you could get probably around 8%, is what I'll say. And I've seen as low as 7%. And again, those are monthly expenses. So again, our assumption is we're paying cash, right? So I know someone talked about a mortgage, that'd be cash on cash. That's going to get a lot more that's going to get different. I didn't add in, vacancy, right? So if you're actually doing loans, the bank will say it's 25% vacancy, right? So again, this is basically the basic, right? So you're going to add up the yearly and the monthly, right? So make them all yearly. And your net income, you're going to take the 24,000 minus all these numbers. It's going to come out to 13,500. Right? So now if you take out the 13.5, market value is 270, purchase price. And again, I'm using a super basic. Yeah, there might be repairs. How do you know if it's not rent ready? You're going to have to add those repairs in. That's going to be a big difference too. Right, so that's 5% on that end of it. Again, the worse the neighborhood, the larger you're going to want on your return, generally speaking. Some of the hedge funds that we sell to, they're actually okay with 4 or 5% because they're great neighborhoods. These big funds do not want drama. Right? Their business plan is very different than maybe yours or mine. On that portion, right? Is 5% enough for me? Probably not. Like I'd like to be around closer to 8, but it would change if it's my cash on cash on that end of it, right? So it just depends. So this is like the basic. And you want to learn these numbers as you're starting to build your cash buyers list, right? If you're wholesaling, let's say Harry's a buy and hold guy. He's like, look, I love buying rentals. Well, what kind of cap rate are you looking for? And the idea is, right, now you could back end the numbers. Hey, Harry needs to be at 8. Well, then you need to buy it at a 10 so you could sell it to Harry at 8. Or Harry's okay with 5. Then you need to buy it at a 7 to get him to his 5. Makes a big difference on that. So let me see if there's, okay, a couple of questions too. Andreas, you're saying to submit your articles of incorporation for your business with your offer. I do. Especially if you don't know them. Meaning if you already have an LLC or you already have a corporation, why not? You're like, if you have proof of funds, why not? It's going to look like a very more, or it's going to be an organized offer, is my attitude. Right. So that's definitely one of the things that you want to make sure. Let's see. Leo, if you're buying an investment property for cash flow, why do investors focus so much on a neighborhood if the property would be rented regardless? I mean, you want to try to answer that, Harry, or I mean,
Some neighborhoods that people like bullets flying through the windows. Others like houses being destroyed or broken into. You want as little aggravation as possible.
yeah. And so there's twofold to that, right? So Leo, that we have buyers that specifically love terrible neighborhoods and they're about cash flow. I like the medium because on top of it, on appreciation, the appreciation might not be the same in a lesser neighborhood is number one. Number two is, like I do some advanced stuff. What happens if I want to turn it into a short-term rental? The chances that maybe that neighborhood that, the lesser neighborhood, it's probably not a good short-term rental. So it just really depends on where you're at, but location is massive, right? In general, are you close to, like I live in downtown Las Olas. Location is really important. I know, Harry lives in a great part in Pompano. Where do you want to be? But do I have other properties, and it's different. Again, we're only talking about our South Florida market. If you're buying, stuff in the Midwest, right? So someone's also even asking 8% cap rate, good around the country. Yes and no. I mean, depends. We've had, people in the Midwest, 15, 20%. Their appreciation is like 4%. And this is what I mean. They bought a house for $30,000. They're making, 10, 12, whatever percent. They bought that house for $30,000 5 years ago. It's probably worth like $37,000, $38,000. The caveat, right? They still have issues with roofs, repairs. So if you look long-term, you're gonna eat it another way. It's probably the way I'm gonna say it nicely on that portion. So, and it really depends on your business plan, what you think works for you, right? So what 8% might work for me, you might be okay with 5%, but you love the neighborhood and you know what's happening on this part of it, appreciation. Or imagine, I know there's some people in Miami, imagine you bought in Wynwood area, or Design District, even, where Harry lives in Pompano, right? Like what's happened in your area, like in this last.
In the last few years, Airbnb has taken over and the returns are insane.
Yeah. So that's part of why, it makes a big difference. And it's just one of those things that you're going to figure out your comfort zone. If you have a property manager, again, if you have stuff out of state, that's not an issue either. You still need that team of people doing that for you. So the question we always get, right? Like I found a property or I called on us for sale by owner. How do I make a quick offer on a property? Right? So what do you think we do? Obviously, let's talk about that. The idea is really to get to the house. And again, I'm using, I'm not going to talk about short sales. These are regular deals. Because when you're dealing with short sales, you're working with the bank. The homeowner is generally not getting anything. So that's a different conversation. This is just the person, probate, divorce, maybe, any of those things. Right. And the idea is the more information you know, the better. Try to book an appointment and try to go look at the house ASAP, if possible. Like that's number one. Sometimes, right? Homeowners are like, oh, I don't feel, you're the investor. Give me an offer. Okay. Well, Harry, do you have a few minutes to talk about the house?
Me.
Yeah. Right. So now you're as the seller, as the investor, you like ask them just some quick questions about the house. Right? The roof. Has it been updated? Well, everything works. That means to be updated, right? The kitchen needs to be updated. The bathrooms are updated. No, does your AC work? So you want to ask as many of those quick questions as possible.
We're going to be able to answer a lot of this question in detail on the example that Julio's property.
Yeah, and we're just gonna just basically talk about it because of time.
Right.
So what we want to know is what after repair value is, right? ARV, that's some verbiage you're always gonna hear. And we take that number, right? So after repair value, you want to use comparables. So again, we use REIFax for comparables. If you're an agent, you could use the MLS. We use both. I'll do both, to be honest, on that portion. So you want to know what your comparables are. You want to know what's active for sale too. We have been seeing a market that's been rising. But what happens when the market's not rising? Because that's going to be your competition. So we're gonna, basically figure that out. So if you get an after repair value, you're gonna take that number and you're gonna times it by 0.75. Right? And then you're gonna subtract the repair cost. And that equals your maximum allowable offer, right? So let's just kind of go through a quick example, right? The house is worth 275,000 fixed up. All right, you did your comparables. You're using REIFax, you're using the MLS, whatever that number comes. You hang up on the phone, that's what you get. Like, hey, this is a fully remodeled house, right? Repairs are 50,000. Again, I'm using super vanilla numbers in general, right? You're gonna take 275 times 70.75 minus 50, 156,250. So that's where you want to be, generally speaking. So depending on the market, right? As our market's been appreciating, we've had to raise that number from, the 0.75. At one point back in 2008, that you could probably got away with 0.6, right? 0.7. Have we gone 0.85? We have. That margin is what we're looking at, is the spread of your profit, right? Or what you're going to wholesale it to the end rehabber. So you want to be able to actually have those numbers. And again, this is just a quick offer, right? So maybe that person, that seller, I'd say, hey, look, I'd probably start at 145. The other things that you want to always ask them, right? You always, in negotiations, hopefully some of you guys have watched our negotiation webinars, is try to get a number from them first. Ask them how they got that offer. One of the things that we love using REIFax for is it shows you all the distressed properties, all the foreclosures, pre-foreclosures in the neighborhood up to 2 miles. What I could tell you, ladies and gentlemen, like in the last 4 or 5 months, all those numbers have gone up in every neighborhood. Right? So they don't realize what they're going to say is Mr. Jones on the street, he's getting this. So you want to take that distress report and show it to them. Hey, this is what's going on in your neighborhood. This is not just a lowball offer. Even though I have to say, since I'm a licensed agent, disclose, since I'm a licensed agent, you don't have to still pay commissions for me. You're going to save money on that. It's as is. I could move fast or slow as you want. But the idea is to get the offer in as possible. If they're not even willing to tell you anything about the house, or they won't let me go look at the house, I'll say, I'm going to give you an offer. You're probably not going to like it. It's, meaning I'm not buying, I kind of joke about it, I'm not buying a t-shirt on Amazon. I'm looking to buy your house. So I know other investors will just throw a number. I want to actually come out there and take a look at it. I'm building those relationships. Guys, this whole business is relationship building. Harry and Victoria, they do it, without a doubt, the top students in our program, I would say you do things that are unconventional, meaning, the amount of marketing money you spend is what? 0, right? 0. Yeah. So Harry and Victoria really know how to build relationships. Like that's the important thing about that too. So some of the big ticket costs, right? We talked about it. Roof replacement. How do you find out about a roof? Are you going to trust the homeowner? Got to put in the chat. Right? No, you're not going to trust the homeowner, right? Yeah, you're going to look at the city website, check on the permits, guys. It's right there, right? They're going to say, oh, I replaced the roof last year or 2 years ago. Well, if you did, there's no permits, right? Electrical and plumbing. super expensive. So these are the things you want on that quick phone call. Try to find out as much as you can. Right? So there's some electrical out there. If that needs to be replaced, that it's super old. Zenco and Federal Pacific.
Cisco.
Oh, was it?
Cisco.
Zenco, yeah. Zenco.
Federal Pacific,
Yeah.
Champion.
Yeah, so if you have any of those electrical panels, you're gonna have to automatically replace those. So you gotta budget that in, plumbing. We know what's happening on some, depending in Hollywood, Miramar. I've seen some nightmares on plumbing if you didn't budget for that. Cooling and heating, right? Does the AC work? The handler, is it wall units? All that other stuff, illegal additions. I didn't put windows, just so you guys know, most of the houses we're rehabbing, we're not replacing, a whole set of windows. But that would be expensive on your higher end rehabs. So this is where, when I said I use that 50,000, you're going to want to get these numbers, right? And usually the question I get is, oh, how am I going to know, what these numbers are, right? You can get a contractor out there. It's just going to cost you money. That's not really effective. You got to start getting experience walking houses to understand that. And actually in our 2-day quick start, we actually kind of give you a list of what Carl Sheely uses as numbers. Even those numbers have changed because of the pandemic, up and down too. But again, we're just trying to get an offer in there. If you do it right, inspection period, there's no issues. Right? So some of the things that we talked about is also on your power team, right? Who's on your power team? Go ahead and put in the chat. Right? Contractors, handymen, insurance agents, like we were talking, Bob Pepe from Flagler Insurance. He is massive and he's worked with investors forever, and he's been an investor himself for years. So he's been fantastic. Realtors, right? In case you actually rehab the house, in case you need those comps on that portion, or you know what? Realtors might give you deals. We have a couple of realtors right now that are just giving us deals, and they know that we're cash buyers. Of course, title companies, money partners or lenders, right? If you don't have any money, it could be private money also. What are you going to do? In our coaching program, you don't have to worry about it. Mortgage brokers too, right? In case you want to use the Burr method and you want to refinance and start adding that. Harry, you got
I
something to
didn't rate a bullet point.
add? What?
I didn't rate a bullet point.
And you want mentors too, right? I mean, that's part of it too. So it's kind of like, one of the things out there that what we kind of talk about too is we want you to get, part of this too. And so I know some of you guys are mentoring students. Some are not, some are on the fence. And one of the things is we make it real easy. Remember I told you real estate investing made simple. One of the things, you could go to our website, you could book a discovery call, pick a path, right? And get a mentor. And so what I'm going to kind of show you are some of our success stories. So Alex and Karen, marketing backgrounds, right? Husband and wife. Their first deal was in West Palm or Lake Worth. And it was a probate deal actually out, and the homeowner lived in Orlando. And we could never get inside the house. So we actually bought it with squatters, which was actually her squatter was her sister living in it. And we got a great deal. And we were able to actually, if you can believe it, evict them during COVID. We have a power team of attorneys. And there were certain ways to evict people out of COVID. Yeah, there are certain parameters that if you didn't follow, because she never actually had a lease. So we were actually able to get her out of the house. There's Marsha, Michelle, Taryn, and Mario, obviously with Harry. And actually, I'll show you Mary's first deal too. The other thing is all these guys work full time, right? So this is one of the houses that Mario, that we were just kind of talking about, is 446 Fort Lauderdale. So look at this beautiful home. 8 heirs on the house. 7 of them agreed. And there's always that one. So I don't know how many people who have siblings. Try to get 8 siblings on board. Long story short, after getting the probate done, paying for it, order, all the stuff, you know, we made a wholesale profit of 70 grand. So when we talk about wholesaling, we did nothing to the house. Zero. So I always think that's always really important, right? And we don't, and pre-COVID, we're averaging 25,000. Post-COVID or during COVID, it's been over 35,000. And our last bunch of deals have just been ridiculous on what's happening too. So
That in your cap rate cap.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's just one of those things that, again, this was actually Mary actually got this lead from someone in his church, actually. So there's leads out there, right? This is, again, off-market property. So this is the one that we're kind of talking about, and I'll let you talk about this house. This is with Julio, so.
Well, I barely recognized the picture because the landscaping was over the tops of the windows. We hired a company to come out there and just clean it all out. But one of our mentees, the students, Julio, he tried to meet with the owner. The guy was a hoarder, and he ended up contacting the son who lived in North Florida. And yes, of course, you need to see the house. He goes, make an offer. He goes, well, what are you looking for? $700,000, and the comps in the area about 660, 670. And the son acknowledged it needs about $125,000 in repairs, and that the bank is owed $60,000, $70,000, and he wants to give his father at least get his father $200,000 clear so he could buy a house up in North Florida near where his son lives. Bunch of months go by because the father doesn't want to let anyone in. He's embarrassed. Finally, we were able to, and it had $3 million in liens on it and $6,000 water bill and some other issues. And so we finally get in. We open the front door. I don't know if you have a picture of that. The front door, there is 3 feet of stuff at the front door. So you have to climb up into the house. The whole house, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath house, about 1,900 square feet. And once you get in, you're walking 3 feet off the floor over all this junk, his personal savings, whatever. There was it went up to 6 feet, almost to the ceiling on some areas. There was no access for years to the kitchen, bedrooms, bathrooms, and the water company said that he was using 57,000 gallons of water a month, when the house twice the size next door was using about 3,000 gallons a month. So there was a leak obviously somewhere. And surprisingly, yes, a toilet will leak about 70,000 gallons a month. Believe it or not, I was surprised when I heard that too. So we gave him time and he greatly appreciated it. It's about building relationships. You heard Anish say that. And we gave the son the time to help his father slowly realize that he has to let some things go and move up near his son and all this other stuff. There were 7 abandoned cars in the front yard. The weeds were neck deep in most places. Everything was overgrown. There was probably 3 huge garbage trucks that you see rolling down the street in garbage outside the house, buried and intertwined, 2 huge bee nests, and they were nasty bees. They were not the simple tame honeybees. So we had to deal with all that. But finally, because we gave him time and built that relationship, waited for him to give him the time that he needed, we ended up negotiating a $300,000 purchase, saying, okay, the bank is owed 70. You'll net a little over. I tried to get it for 200 and said you'll net about 120, but that didn't work.
Yeah, and so the funny part, Harry was really adamant about trying to get it for 200. And I was like, wait, what's the RV? This is, I'm like, what? On that end of it, and you're like, I mean, obviously, I understood, as investors, we're always negotiating on that end of it. So that's what makes
We
it.
could always go up.
Yep.
And it turned out that the bank had some sort of forbearance plan in place. By the time we were ready to close, bank only wanted $27,000. So he actually got $260,000 for his father. He was very happy. I think we spent about $35,000 with money costs, clean out costs, etc., and ended up selling it for 320, I think we were in, and sold it for 460. As well, we cleaned it out, but someone is taking it over, and we got it was $390,000 worth of liens. I got the liens down 3 cases. I got the fines down to $1 per case, so $3. The city wanted they spent $1,680 in hard costs, which we paid, or actually our buyer paid for it. And so we got $390,000 in liens down to just under $1,700. So
Yeah, so you heard that right. So kind of recap on this, right? So, obviously the father lived in a hoarder. For years, it's been like this. Water bills, all the way through. And I actually, he's right. I picked a better picture because otherwise you can't see the house. Like
the
all the other
liens
pictures.
went from 2011, 13, and 17.
Yeah, he was lit, and let's talk about being a hoarder. Like that's a disease, guys. And there's a lot of people, they just don't know, and they're living it, and it's tough because we've gone through a lot of hoarder houses. I mean, it's just one of those things out there. And most investors, realtors, they all passed on this house for years, just going by. And what you understood was Harry was actually talking about what the needs are of the seller. Was it time? Can we get this out? He wanted some things that he wanted to keep. Thank God, not all of it, but I mean, it was just every step you went, it was like even further. What do you know what the after repair value on this was, or what's this guy doing again? Is he knocking it all? Like what our buyer's doing? What the one that we're selling it to?
He's fixing and putting a new roof on, new kitchen, new everything, rebuilding, keeping it the same size. I don't think he's doing any addition, but he's figuring about 100 to 125, 130,000 repairs.
Yeah, and what's he saying what does he think? He thinks he could get over $1 million, right? $1 million on this house?
Well, he's going to do that because even though we saw comps at the 670, 700 range, because it'll be a brand new rebuild with new everything, and it's on a 1 acre lot overlooking a golf course in the back. It's somewhere back there, we literally had a jungle back there, and it has an old Harley there if anyone wants it. It's encased in rust, but that one we should be, I would say, conservatively, they'd probably get close to 800,000 for it. And I would not see any problem for these people to try for $1 million.
Yeah. So I mean, is that you, Harry? Oh.
So
that's one of the things that we'll see. Like, and that's the thing is, Harry and myself, we have good relationships with our buyers. Like I hope he makes 400. I hope he gets like 1.2. Yeah, like please make that extra money. You don't think he's going to call Harry or myself? Hey, Nish, I'll buy that. Or all the other. Yeah. Or, what the best part is the investors that passed on it, that offered us lower. And we're like, oh, look, this could have been you. Right. So it kind of works out on that end of it too. So I think this house too, huh, Harry?
I do.
This is one of actually Harry's deals himself. So not only are mentors, and I always think that's always important, is not only
Up, you froze, Anish. All right, well, while Anish is thawing out here, if everyone can still hear me, this was a reverse mortgage short sale, and the heirs were going to just let it go back to the bank.
doing deals.
Up there you are. You froze for about a minute.
Oh. Am I still there or frozen?
Yeah, you're here, you're fine now. So
Okay.
you need to go back to one of those things.
Yeah.
Harry,
Oh, so one of those things is, Harry is also an investor too. So what I was saying is our mentors are also investors themselves, including myself. So we're out there doing deals. This is how we know what's happening with the market. So you want to kind of just talk about this house too?
while you were frozen, I don't know if they heard me, but it was a reverse mortgage short sale. The heirs wanted nothing to do with it because the bank wanted more than the house was worth. I asked them if they would let me do this, no cost to them. I would pay, if I saw the house was in the condition that I needed it in, I would pay for probate. Turns out we needed double probate. And the lady, the wife of the heir, I said, why did you choose me? She goes, there was something in your voice. We got dozens of phone calls, but it was you that we wanted to work with. So they trusted us, no cost to them. We paid for probate, and then one of the heirs died as well. So we had to do a double probate. I think we were in about 8,500, 10,000 cost. But we were able to get this down. This comps were 370 to 400. We were actually able to get this from the bank for $171,000. It's on Canal Front, sort of a water retention.
It's a 3-2. How many bedrooms? What was it? Do you remember?
3-2.
3-2? 4-2?
A 3-2 with an enclosed, wasn't a carport, but that side, the right side of the house was another room, which was probably not legal because there was a 6-inch drop, but they were using it as another bedroom, so it could be done properly as a fourth. Everything needed to be done. And through Taryn and you and we all worked together as a team, found a buyer with a couple wholesalers actually on top of that, and we still netted $179,000 profit.
Everyone's like, you could drop the mic. No, I'm kidding. No. So, I mean, these are just 3 of the last deals that we've done. And, a lot of you guys, hey, the market, what about this? Again, we're doing things differently, right? So this is possible. What I am going to give you my disclaimer, right? Everyone doesn't get deals like this. There's a couple of things that obviously us being experts, we actually have the money to close. We, again, Harry put up the money for the probates up front for the heirs. Most people don't. We're willing to take chances on those things. Sometimes we've let them stay in the house for an extra week or two. We do things outside the box, is what I tell people. And right now, I mean, I know what's happening and what you're watching, and it feels like it's chaos and stuff. This is a great time to be in real estate investing. I mean, I really feel like, we kind of joke about it. It's like, when the short sales started coming out, where, Harry's like, man, it was so easy in 2008, 9, they took our first offer and we're good. And those were the good old days on that portion. We weren't making numbers like this on wholesale deals. I really feel like the cool thing is now that these things are recorded, like, I think I might do something like, there might be like, 5 years from now, I'm going to look back and be like, remember, those are the good old days kind of stuff too. Right. So that's important. Our motto here, great real estate investors are trained, not born. So I think it's always important. We're out there. I have 2 of my own mentors. I'm in a mastermind. Every year we still go to the National Riviera cruise. We're like, I don't know, the easiest I could say is I feel like I just touched the surface of my business. Now I'm buying stuff with our self-directed Roth IRA because I hate paying taxes. I don't know about you guys. I still pay taxes, but if I can move the money in a way that I could legally not have to pay taxes on these, flips on that portion, I want to, right? So a couple of things about our coaching program. Some of you guys have been asking us, right? What's the job of a coaching program, right? For us, we could help build your real estate business. We know it's complicated. One of the cool things is the way it's set up is we make money if you make money. So I think that's always important on that portion. We've helped out hundreds of people just like you. Harry cracks me up. I remember when you sat in on a class and you're asking all these questions and you're saying, oh my God, I don't know about this. And now I look at you, Taryn, Denise, and Lucian, and Victoria, like so confident. Oh yeah, we only got it to, only 80,000. I know Victoria's not on this call, but my favorite with her is like, Anisha, it's really hard to get out of bed if we don't make over 50,000 on a deal. I'm like, if I could have recorded that 10 years ago, you would have laughed on that portion. Since we are truly one-on-one mentoring, maybe you want to build a portfolio. Maybe it's generational wealth, right? Again, we're active investors. Also, maybe you want to do short-term rentals. We're out there doing that for you. Our goal here, again, is for your real estate freedom. Stop feeling confused, afraid, overwhelmed. That's what always happened to me, saying, oh my God, what am I going to do on that end of it, right? So one of the things that we have coming up is on September 10th, 11th, we're doing our last quick start probably of the year. And we're going to show you how to find off-market deals. We're going to show you how to analyze properties, how to probably set up your company. One of the things is I'm going to have Jose Ramirez from Advanced Tax Advisors. He'll be on the call. Kevin Thatcher, he's actually going to talk to you about assignments of contracts and double closings. Carl Sheely from Piers Remodeling. A lot of you guys always ask about repairs. He's been the contractor with us and before me for 28 plus years. The founder of ReaFax himself, Francisco. So it's 2 full days of real information, 9 a.m. to 5, and it's interactive. And the key is the cameras will be on too. So it is really going to feel like a classroom. We're going to sit out there and chat. We're going to have different exercises, actually, because we want you to be in action. Like the last thing I want is for you to just give you a bunch of information. So that's coming up on September 10th, 11th. People ask me what kind of people attend the 2-day quick start, right? Realtors, right? I know some of you guys are realtors and you're working very hard for your commission. There's no way I could do that anymore. And even like my family members that ask me, like I cringe sometimes too, but you're literally tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. Newbies, right? Like, hey, I'm not really sure. What about, this? I got so many questions. And the key is like, we're showing you, I know a lot of you guys are here in South Florida. We're showing what happens in our market, right? You learn these techniques, then you could do this in other markets too. Experienced investors. Why would experienced investors do this? Well, the reason is maybe they're only doing 1 or 2 deals a month. Maybe you're not using the other techniques out there to get you to 4 or 5. Or sometimes for me, I've been to workshops where I actually knew it. And I was like, oh man, I don't know why I don't do this anymore, right? People looking for generational wealth. I know, Harry, you always get that too. Like, well, I just want to be able to, pass it on. I want to, really change my family's trajectory too. How many of you guys want to build passive income? I'm tired of my job, right? I'm tired of doing all this other stuff. The key is once you learn how to identify these deals, you cherry pick the ones you want to keep, right? The other ones you just wholesale, get rid of them, sell them to us, sell them to other buyers. It doesn't matter. Put some money in your pocket, right? And some of you guys might want to change your lives, right? I was at a job and I was in banking and finance for 20 plus years. And I had the great job of also being an auditor. You want to talk about no one was ever happy to see you? No one's ever happy to see me. Like, oh, here comes Anish, the auditor. Fun, right? So one of the things, you want to not only change your lives, there's so many things that happen out there. And, our normal quick start when we did them in person. So now we're back to doing in-person events was $1,995. That's what we charge. If you guys know, you've been coming to Signature Grand, the hotel rooms or the hotel spaces crush me on that portion. Like it is insane how they have no mercy on what it is to run an event on that portion. And we want it, and the idea is like, I want to make sure that there's free parking. I want to make sure it's in a nicer place. But now we're doing it online. And what we figured out, right, was it doesn't change. Now you can be at home, right? And it's via Zoom. We've done so many events now via Zoom like this. I could put you on breakout sessions. all the way through. Our price is $595 for it. And what I'm going to do also, because Harry kind of convinced me yesterday, he's like, come on, man, do something for the, for people that hang out. So for the first 10 people, it's $495. So if you sign up and you're in the world of action, and we've had people actually do the quick start and get deals. The other thing is why you may or may not want to do it is, I probably didn't mention, or if you've known for a while, I am actually a cash buyer. So wouldn't you want to know and use the tools that I use, figure it out, and then sell me the property? You could, I don't care, you could assign it. I'll put up transactional funding. I'm good with that. So that's an easy thing for me on that portion. So I don't know, it's like, where's this year gone, right? If you've been on the sidelines for a year, it's gonna be September soon. Now what? Then it's the holidays on that portion. So I think Alexa's gonna probably set up a link somewhere. She did already? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For the first 10 people. And then here's the big thing, 100% money back guarantee. You hang out all day Saturday and Sunday and you say, Anish, this thing really stinks. You're wasting my time. What the heck am I doing here on that portion? Why not, right? I will give you your money back. So we do have our coaching program also. I know some people are ready to automatically just start the coaching program. Absolutely, right? So, hey, you talked to me and I'll just put up a quick poll for that. For the coaching program, this is for you. I'm in, you get a free ticket. Some of you might say, Anish, before I jump in bed with you, you got to take me out for a weekend, right? The weekend is the quick start. So you could do the quick start, and the thing is, you'll laugh. If you're a mentoring student, you obviously get a membership to our organization. If you already have one, I'll extend it. If you've already, I don't know, you do the quick start and now you want to do our mentoring, guess what? I'll credit it. So I have no problem helping you guys out on these things. And you'll start really getting, as you come to more events, or you've seen, is we don't want to trip over dollars to pick up pennies. I'm like very confident in the mentoring, the other mentors that we have are fantastic at what they do. I mean, I learn things from the other 3 mentors all the time. And for me, it's just one of those things that as a community, we have it, right? Whether it's attorneys, title companies, if you want to do some great things, you need a team. That's what I'm going to tell you, right? Hopefully it'll be us. We're in your backyard, right? I mean, I could tell you, 2008, what I didn't tell people was like, and a lot of you guys have been on our webinars, I got wiped out. I lost everything. So I literally went from millions to, less than $8,000 in the bank account, sleeping on my cousin's couch. So I've been there on that portion. And, the funny part, I was laughing at it, it's like, that was only 10 years ago. Like, I'm kind of cracking up, and these last 5 years have been insane as we got to, travel. I got to buy my parents a house. And I'm looking to do even bigger things. One of the things that also our coaching program, we only take limited students per month. We only take 5 or 6 a month. And the reason is we give you unlimited access to us, phone calls, emails, etc. Our business plan, I am for profit. So are these, is to take less students and get you to perform. If you go around and check most of these other companies out there, great information, but you heard Harry talk about he spent $50,000 plus. I spent over 50. Great information, but my mentor was in Utah, had no idea about the South Florida market. I could never get a hold of him. I was allowed 1 phone call every 2 weeks, 2 emails a week, and that was in 2008. So if I had inflation numbers, I should figure that out. My mentoring was probably $70,000 or so. So that's one of the things out there. Harry, do you have any comments on what you've seen in our coaching program, or like any advice in general?
Well, I do know that for me and for Victoria and myself, is that we network with a team. And so we don't take 100% of the profits all the time. So one, I want you to know is the money is made in the buying, and yes, there are plenty of properties out there. Two, with the networking part of the team, we've learned a lot of things. We've only covered a few things in this webinar today, but there's a lot of other nuances about real estate, which you'll have access to being part of the team. I looked the other day and almost fell off my chair, but I ended up partnering deals, and I've given away $304,000 already this year for partners, partnership arrangements, agreements, all sorts of things. And I'm still on track to doubling, if not tripling, last year's revenue.
All I know is if you're giving away 300 and plus, that must mean you must be doing okay. And what he's not telling you, they just went on this ridiculous cruise all through the Mediterranean or wherever you guys went on some fancy
AGNC.
And so I mean this is what's possible, right? It's not going to magically happen. I mean, if you guys think this is a get rich quick stuff, don't sign up for our stuff like on that portion. And since we're really a one-on-one mentoring, we want to know what your goals are when you're in our program. And that's, I think, the big difference in what we do. And of course, I knock down the prices because guess what? No more hotel room. I'd rather give you guys back the money too. So.
And remember, one thing is that if you look at COVID's been around for 2.5 years. It seems like yesterday. Can you imagine 2.5 years from today where you'll be?
Yeah.
If you just pull the trigger, jump in with both feet, you will be successful. And it's fun. We have so much fun.
Yeah, we vacation now together. Yeah, so you get that big fat first check, you're gonna have to take Harry out to dinner and meet. There's some rules. If you get a check over 50,000 handed, you have to take out your mentors. But thank you guys, Alexa. I know. Do we have a winner? I know someone doesn't have to pay.
So I have one person that's going to win a free seat today. Thank you guys for staying to the very end. You are our superstars. We appreciate that. So thank you guys, everyone staying at the end. You will have the opportunity to text in right now to win a free seat to the Quick Start. So I'm putting it in the chat, everyone, and I will send it in the follow-up email for you guys. But by 1 p.m., I will have a winner because you guys stayed until the end and you guys made it through this whole webinar. And I already have messages on my phone that you guys learned a lot. And thank you guys so much for the chat comments. I appreciate it. So the rule is text Quick Start, one word, to our text line. It's in the chat. It's 954-800-6961. So pull out your phone, take a picture of my chat message. I'm going to also send it to you in an email, but you have until 1 p.m. to text that word in to the text line to win a free seat. And like Anish said, first 10 people that use the coupon code August to purchase their Quick Start ticket will get $100 off the Quick Start. Today, it's going to come out today, so you might as well move quickly.
Yeah, and you know what? I saw a couple quick questions. I'm just going to kind of run through these real quick as fast as I can. Someone's asking where the profits after expenses are paid. Yes, those were net profits on the deals that we showed you. Let's see. How can you buy with a self-directed IRA? Well, we have Equity Trust, Camel Plan. We do have, and we've done a lot of webinars on there. If you're a member, you actually get a discount at Equity Trust. And Camel Plan actually waives their membership fee. So there is a lot of things up there. ReFax does work in New Jersey. That's one of the questions that I see. Let's see. Max, you're asking, do the analyzation for multiple units like 16, 32 units? They do that cap rate, but you're going to want something a lot more advanced. And you're also going to check, you're going to add vacancy rates. You're going to actually want to add, check out legal fees. And you're going to, if you're using leverage, you're going to want to use cash on cash and IRR. So again, that's just some super basic stuff that we showed you today. So Leah, what type of property and price range yield the highest returns on average in wholesaling? To be honest, it depends what your buyer makes, right? I mean, you got to have a big buyers list. We have a 10,000 plus cash buyers list. We do like to be under Fannie Mae rates because a lot of them are rehabbers. So we want to be usually under 500,000 since the rates, the loan amounts have gone up. So again, it depends on how big your cash buyers list is, and we got a pretty big one. Let's see, do we have a short-term rental vendor partner? You work with these investors looking for Airbnb properties. Well, I'm going to be doing a class actually with Antonio, who's one of our senior students. We're going to do an all-day workshop, and we're going to kind of run into that kind of stuff with you. It's going to be a paid event. I think I have the date as October 1st. I just haven't figured out pricing, but keep an eye on that, and I'll probably get you there. Let's see, how do you get an ARV for a property and not use the listing price? You got to still do your comps. It doesn't matter what the listing price is, right? I don't care what the agent says or what the homeowner, wants on that portion. So you're the expert too. So, all right, guys, that is pretty much everything that I got to. If you guys have like specific questions, please, feel free to, you can email me too. If you got questions about the mentoring, the quick start, absolutely email us too. And, make sure you give us a 5-star Google review, guys. My social media team and the other people, they're all mad at me saying, hey, the webinars are really good. I always get good feedback. And you always forget to ask people to put reviews too. So we could, Alexa will send you a link on it, 5-star, and then let us know, what other topics you want to hear. If it's not me as an expert, I'll try to get someone as an expert on board.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much. Look out for an email from me coming from alexa@bpmria.com. Right after this webinar, I'll be following up with each and every one of you. All right. Thank you, guys.
Take care, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Harry. Bye, Alexa.